Welcome to Stacktastic, the weekly web show for the avid comic book reader and those who aspire to become so. Last week, CJ Cusino wrote a comment on my Facebook page asking that I talk more about the DC Universe. And of course, I also see the many comments on many of my videos from angry DC fans angrily accusing me of favoring Marvel just because, for instance, I don't think Man of Steel looks like the best movie ever made. So today, both that nice request and those inaccurate conspiracy theories will collide as I deliver my list of the top 5 things I like about the New 52. Plus, as always, my weekly recommendations of what comics to pick up or download this week. Let's get started. So here's the deal. I like Marvel and DC equally, and as I've said before on this show, my 2 favorite franchises are the X-Men and Batman. Things actually tip a bit in DC's favor considering how partial I am to a good Superman story, but luckily for Marvel, that rarely happens. The real reason I don't talk that much about DC on this show is that, well, things are pretty clear-cut over there right now. Instead of making waves, the New 52 is all about consistency. DC relaunched their entire line with #1s across the board, and now focuses on maintaining those initial ideas while getting all those books out on time. Sure, there are exceptions, like Night of the Owls, Death of the Family, and The Fate of Damian Wayne, which I dedicated entire episodes to, but even those events didn't have the same flash or substance as older DC events, like Crisis on Infinite Earths, The Death of Superman, or Nightfall. In fact, I'd say it's nostalgia for those older DC stories which keeps me invested in the newer DC stories, which is ironic considering the whole point of the newer stories is that the older ones never happened. But despite the mixed feelings we readers might have for the New 52 from a creative standpoint, from a business standpoint, it's a resounding hit, meaning it's going to be around for quite a while. So to help me stay sane, I've come up with a list of top 5 things I like about the New 52. Number 5 is that they've transformed their dumb blondes, Aquaman and Steve Trevor. Everyone loves an underdog, and it's been great to see both these characters directly address the jokes they'd become. Yeah, Aquaman can talk to fish, and Steve Trevor was Wonder Woman's bitch. You got a problem with that? No, not anymore, we don't. Number 4 is Red Hood and the Outlaws. True, I've had my problems with this book like the rest of you, but I hung in there and have come to really appreciate how it allows Jason Todd, Starfire, and Arsenal to add some dimension to their characters while maintaining the qualities that made them work in the first place. And when you think about it, how fun is it that Jason Todd has become his own Peter Pan with Lost Boy Arsenal and Starfire as Tinkerbell? Now, if they could only find themselves a Captain Hook, this book would be firing on all cylinders. Number 3 is Peter Tomasi and Pat Gleason on Batman and Robin, or Batman and someone who isn't Damian Wayne, as they'll be calling it for the next few months, until someone hopefully dumps Damian in a Lazarus pit. Anyway, Tomasi and Gleason deliver the kind of consistency that counts, good storytelling. This dynamic duo has done a fantastic job filling in for Grant Morrison and adding some terrific beats to major crossover events. So much so that one has to wonder when DC will let them take over the Batman reins for a while. Number 2 is promoting Cyborg to the Justice League. Sure, his character development is severely lacking, as is he for most of the action in the title, but having him on the team is still an important step when it comes to diversity in comics. For more on this, check out my recent episode on color in comics and comic book movies. And finally, number 1 is that the New 52 allows for experiments like Sword of Sorcery and iVampire. Even the return to print and newfound popularity of old fringe titles like Animal Man and Swamp Thing. It's exciting to see DC trying out new ideas and reaching out to new demographics outside of their Vertigo imprint, even if sometimes those efforts get canceled. Hey, I'm excited for the upcoming The Green Team and The Movement, which explore what's happening to the wealthy and the poor in the New 52. So that's what I like about the New 52. How about you? Be sure to share your thoughts down below. Now, speaking of waves, DC is promising to make one this week with Action Comics number 18, but they won't say how. You can either roll the dice and pick it up, wait to see what everyone else says, or maybe DC will leak the twist across the internet in the hopes of getting non-comic book readers to pick it up at the expense of the comic book readers that actually will. But hey, Marvel does it too. What the heck, I'll pick up Action Comics number 18. As I told you, I'm a sucker for a good Superman story. However, if you like your heroes a little darker, check out Constantine number 1, another experiment courtesy of the New 52. And Starfire also finds herself in the spotlight with DC Universe Presents number 18. Last issue focused on Arsenal, and it was a very pleasant surprise. So much so that I recommend you pick up both this week. And what do you know, it's as if DC heard my list, as Cyborg is front and center for a new arc of Justice League. As for my faves over at Marvel, the original X-Men remain a team out of time, but that doesn't mean they still can't get a makeover. New costumes for everyone. Also, looks like Jean Grey is going evil. Now's the time to start reading or you'll miss it. Then over at IDW, Chuck Dixon reteams with one of my favorite artists of all time, Paul Gulacy, for the new title G.I. Joe Special Missions. Even if you're not a G.I. Joe fan, trust me, Gulacy's work is not to be missed. He drew one of my favorite Batman stories ever, Prey, as well as had a spectacular run on Catwoman with Ed Brubaker. And this is a big week for IDW as they also debut the first issue of Judge Dredd Year 1. Not sure if you should read it? Rent the recent reboot, and I bet you'll make up your mind real fast. And that's this week's Stacktastic. I'm Grace Randall for Think About the Ink, and again, I really hope to have a new Between the Pages for you on Friday. Until then, happy reading.